Hi, I'm Matt Hahn. I am the owner and executive video producer of Hahn Films. I've been a filmmaker my whole life. When I was younger, my dad always had a camera in his hand and he filmed everything. Family events, parties, vacations, anything you could think of, he had the camera. So it made me really interested to be behind a camera myself. Along with that, I watched a ton of films as a kid. Back to the Future, Star Wars, the 1989 Batman, these became some of my favorite films, and I went deeper than just watching them. I wanted to know who the filmmakers were. I wanted to know who composed the music. I wanted to know who was behind the camera. I wanted to know who directed these films. So as I learned more and more about filmmaking and movies, I wanted to start making some on my own. So as a 5-year-old kid who was super interested, I dragged my family into making my own Batman film. And they obliged for the most part. But that was the beginning of what I would eventually become, and I always knew from that moment that I was going to be a filmmaker in some way, shape, or form. That carried on through school when I met my best friend, Justin Ho. He was also hugely into movies, and we related on that level, and the two of us started making things together. Eventually, middle school came along, we brought a group of friends together, and we would finish school, go to my apartment, and make movies. They were pretty bad, but we were learning and using the techniques we were seeing in films for ourselves with just a handy cam. So eventually, Justin and I moved on to college. We both went to different film schools in New York, and that is where I met my wife, Jackie, who was a fellow Jerseyite and a theater major. She opened my mind to a whole different art form that had a lot of similarities to film. So thanks to her, I was able to meld these worlds, and we worked on a lot of projects together during college. Once Jackie and I finished college, we made a few films and then headed back to New Jersey together. That's when we came across the Axelrod Performing Arts Theater. This was the opportunity to allow those two worlds of theater and film to come together. That's about the time when Hahn Films went from this moniker that I was using to create my films to a legitimate business. Axelrod became my first official client. I was creating content to promote their shows. I did this mostly as a one-man crew in the beginning, but as Hahn Films grew, I created a roster of freelance cast, crew, and video editors, which included my old friend, Justin Ho. Today, Hahn Films works with many theaters and businesses in the tri-state area, and we are proud to be focusing on brand filmmaking. Brand films are short videos created to showcase a brand as a form of digital marketing. Usually they tell a story connecting the audience to the brand's core messages. They can either be fiction or documentary style. This video you're watching is essentially a brand film in a documentary style. This type of storytelling is the soul to your brand, and every piece of content you create should root back to that film's message. I make it a point to work with these types of clients. I love working with smaller brands that need this type of cinematic content, and we can deliver it because of the day and age we live in. The cinematic style and the quality of work that we're putting out for brands that may not be able to afford this type of production value, that is what our ultimate goal is. Hahn Films, capturing your mission through cinematic storytelling.